Okay, it is 5 o'clock on Tuesday, February 6th, 2024. Going to call this special town board meeting of the town of LaPointe to order. We'll call Mike Anderson.
Here.
Amy Baxter.
Here.
Susan Brenna.
Here.
Samantha Dobson.
Here.
Glenn Carlson here. We also have our town clerk and our town administrator, our zoning administrator, members of the Harbor Commission, and members of the public. So thank you all. Is there any public comment? Paul?
Opposed to allowing this during the rental ordinance. I'm opposed to allowing an unlimited number of attendees to an event or gathering as long as the owner is present. This is a loophole big enough to drive a truck through and would be unenforceable. For example, what if the future owner of Woods Manor has a 300-person gathering every weekend in July and August, such as a wedding reception, and claims they are present each and every weekend? There will be nothing the town and neighbors could do about it. 2, I am also opposed to allowing dormitories being rented out as anything other than housing for enrolled students at an educational facility. Allowing dormitories to be rented out to non-students smacks of special treatment for a chosen few. Whomever is writing these draft rental ordinances should stop watching Fox News and instead listen to the comments from the 30th August 2023 public hearing. It's greed instead of need. As your constituent, I remind you and request that you start over on the rental ordinance. This still isn't cutting it.
Any other public comment?
I don't know.
Clayton?
I have a quick one. I'll try to be concise. I'm in agreement with Paul that the rental ordinance does need more work. I mean, after it went to the town's attorney, a lot of things were taken out, but there's still a lot of questionable things in it that are gonna lead the town into problems. One of them being the high occupancy label of these homes. You know, it's just an arbitrary number that was basically out of the air from what my understanding, and it really only affects a small number of people, basically our houses. And it's gonna come into question when it gets brought, you know, my attorney spoke with the town attorney. He said he's not certain that that's, you know, they'll keep it in there, but he's not certain that the town would have any ground to stand on. Secondly, as far as events go, we're gonna have issue because that's a big portion of my profits. It's in my property. And so by limiting the number of events the person can have, it's a slippery slope saying what you can and can't do with your properties all of a sudden. And, you know, prohibiting it from use for a place for birthdays, reunions, or other like events, or making me get continual permits for each one, it stands to lose me a huge amount of income throughout the years. And I just need to let the town know that before we proceed, you know, each caution and think maybe go back to the drawing board on a couple of things. You're getting close, but it's not quite there yet. And then on a separate note, I don't know if I can say this, but this is about the ferries. They're charging the winter surcharge right now, which the town owns the ferry, in my understanding. And I feel like that winter surcharge is just an extra tax on local residents is all. You know, it doesn't need to be there. The ferry made money last summer. It should be able to operate on its profits through the winter when it doesn't make as much money, just like the rest of us do. None of our other businesses on the island apply a winter surcharge. Belt Beach Club doesn't, Candle Shop doesn't, I don't, you know, and I feel like it needs to be, it's an excessive tax that needs to be addressed sooner than later. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Clayton. Any other public comment? Charlie?
Say that you're running a marathon, you'll get a discount.
Okay.
Anyway, real quick, I know I only have a minute, this isn't a public hearing, but I'm less than thrilled with the last few drafts. I don't know what drafts we're looking at tonight. Now I see there's a 4C. I think I was referencing a 4B, but it seems like with any new draft of the rental ordinance, it appears there is less and less accountability. God help us if we get to a 5th draft, by then there won't be any meaningful ordinance. Probably just do whatever you want to do. I still have concerns about events, that's written. I have concerns about dormitories, specifically where they are considered rented, if the fee for such accommodations is paid either as a direct rental fee or the guest pays a separate tuition fee for the educational program of the dormitory. Seems like they're trying to get dormitories to be more of a hotel or a resort. That shouldn't be the case. I've got more to say, but again, I know this isn't a public hearing and you've got other things on the agenda, but I really encourage you guys to have another public hearing. I know you don't want to do it for whatever reason, but there's been so many changes since August 30th. I don't know why you wouldn't want to have, a new public hearing on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Ed?
I think that's a great job on the strat. It's come a long ways. Regarding events on the island. Most of the event venues on the island, according to our old draft ordinances, are not legal. They're in non-compliance. This is making it so they can be in compliance and have events. I guess.
Okay, thank you, Ed. Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to the rental ordinance. You all have it before you. Are there any comments? Questions?
There, what Charlie was saying, there's a reason why we're trying to get this done. I mean, within a certain amount of time. And it has something to do, what does that to do?
Well, yeah, the zoning administrator is about to send out permit notices, to all of the rental permit holders to let them know what the new rules are. And also to give them, an application for them to renew. So that's the time situation.
Is there any way to approve that section of it that won't delay that and concerns that people have to look at that again?
Well, I'm not sure what parts, I mean, the events is a, distinct part, but I don't know that I don't know that there are a lot of things that you can pull out without pulling out the whole thing. Possibly high occupancy, if you wanted to defer on that. But those would be the only two things I could think of offhand that are kind of easily separated out and could potentially be addressed at a future meeting.
Well, it just sounds to me like there's still some ways to go.
Okay, any other comments?
Well, I think dormitories is spelled out in the beginning in the definition that it's just for staff and students. So I don't know why the businesses can't charge outside of tuition or not.
That's already limited, you're saying?
That's how I read it, because in the definition of dormitory, it says for staff instructors or students.
So it's just allowing them to rent it to those people.
Right,
Sounds good.
instead of adding it onto the tuition,
Okay,
which
The dormitories that we have right now do add it to the tuition, don't they? To the tuition?
it's separately itemized. I think you're talking about MISA. Yeah,
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not included in their tuition.
correct.
because they could stay in town.
Yeah, I could stay at their.
That's why it's separate.
Samantha?
No, that was my question, just clarifying the dormitories.
Definition.
Yeah, and just stating that, it says that this is what a dormitory is, this is who can be rented to.
Right.
You don't fall within that.
Look at section 3.6, sorry.
Section 3.6 is banned by our.
You're talking about A, where he said it can be a direct fee or a tuition?
Yeah.
It's prevented from running into. Running out of a motel.
Because it's not a dormitory unless it's rented to a student or. Yeah, or whatever the definition says. But what 3.6A defines is what is meant by rented. So it basically says any time they're charging for use of the dormitory space, whether that's a separate charge Visa does or whether it's part of the tuition as the music camp does, it's considered rented. And therefore it is susceptible to accommodations tax under the other language in the ordinance. Again, that was added by the attorney to clarify the use of dormitories.
How would the board like to proceed?
I feel like there might be some things that, I think what Mike was talking about was if we could somehow. Tell me if I heard you correctly. So what it sounded to me that you were asking is, in order to get this letter out to the property owners in a timely fashion to let them know about the rules and the actual ordinance, is there some way we can approve getting that information out without approving the entire whole thing based on the concerns that were expressed here? Is that what you were trying to say?
It just sounds to me, yeah, pretty much. It just sounds to me like there's still some concerns in some areas that maybe, I don't know. I mean, you guys probably know it better. I know you know it better than me. But if there's a problem with how it's worded, you know, I mean, just to get the letters out get the letters out, doesn't seem like a reason to do it wrong. That's what I'm saying. Let's do it right. And, if we don't get the letters out.
To explain the changes to the public. What's wrong with that?
What if we approve everything but section 4? Wait, what? Or, the whole thing. Events 4. Just,
That's got to seem.
Go ahead, Ed.
If you do not approve the events part of this ordinance, the property owners that are holding events in non-compliance right now will not be able to have their events this year. I asked the attorney when I first started this process of doing this, if I had to enforce the current ordinance, if we were making changes to try and make people in compliance. And that was a no, as long as I do it even across the board. We're trying to make changes to the ordinance to bring people in compliance. And if it's not passed, I would be forced to enforce the old ordinance.
I just don't expect a wedding this month.
It depends on when you make the changes.
Well, does it go in effect immediately when we make the changes? So we could have this another public hearing and then approve the events portion after that? In a month?
Mr. Chair, may I speak from a staff perspective?
Please.
The discussion of the rental ordinance has been going on for a year. The work on the rental ordinance from the TCC members has been going on for longer than that. There have been at least 4 public opportunities for members of the public to speak. They have been heard. There have been an immense number of changes done to this ordinance. If we are going to have rentals on the island, we have to get rental permits applications into the mail. We have to inform potential rental permit holders what the conditions are for them to apply for a permit and what the conditions are for them to be renting the property this year. There will always be people on this island who are never happy with what the town does. I think we've had more opportunity to influence this ordinance than probably any ordinance in the town's history.
Thank you. Is there any motion that anyone would care to make?
Well, state statutes are gonna take out 4.1 anyway in 2 years, right?
It'll override 4.1, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the rental ordinance as presented.
As is.
That says,
There a second?
I'll second with the discussion.
Okay, moved and
It's
seconded.
like what Clayton was talking about, what Charlie was talking about, if there's gonna be a dispute afterwards, I mean, I don't want to see attorney fees from their side or the town side to fight it out in court over it. I would rather have it worked out this way. And
I agree.
well, and if we can't work it out this way, if you want to pass it, just in order to get those letters out now. And then if you guys say, hey, this is wrong, and we gotta go back, then we can go back and tweak it, right?
May I speak again?
Go ahead.
The high occupancy language gives whatever the definition of high occupancy is. High occupancy language gives the ability of those property owners to rent their properties for less than 7 days. If there's a dispute about high occupancy language, we can simply forbid high occupancy people from renting for less than 7 days. We can abide by state law that says they have the ability to rent for 7 days or longer and not to rent anything for less than 7 days.
Well, again,
Sounds like he's trying to hold that as a cudgel above my head right now. It's not. I'm sorry, but that's a direct threat. It's on record and it's,
Okay,
that's a threat. It's not veiled, it's not thinly veiled. I'm insulted.
that's my dream.
Well, I agree that we gotta do something. I mean, like Michael was talking about earlier, this has been going on for a long time. And you're never gonna please everybody. So I seconded Amy's motion, so.
okay.
So I just have a question. I'm gonna direct it to Michael because I feel like, so if we found that there were things that needed maybe revisions or something, revisions could be brought to the town board and decide whether or not there needed to be a revision. I guess I'm thinking about lawsuits and things like that. So let's say, and I don't want this to happen, but let's say we had a lawsuit and we didn't win. Then at that point, would we still be able to do a revision or could we do revisions? I mean, are revisions something we can at some date do if we see the need to it?
Or you can do revisions to any ordinance at any time it wants.
Okay,
And it might go smoothly, it might go smooth as silk, who knows? I don't know, I don't rent. You know, keep your fingers crossed
Right.
that everybody's happy, if it goes smooth as silk and that doesn't get any complaints and everybody's happy.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Does the board have any more comments, discussion? I'm gonna do a roll call. Mike Anderson,
Yes.
Amy Baxter,
yes.
Susan Brenna,
yes.
Samantha Dobson,
Yes.
and Glenn Carlson, yes. Motion carries. We are moving on now to item 4, minutes. Minutes of the regular town board meeting, January 23rd, 2024.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of January 23rd, 2024.
There's a second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? No discussion?
No.
Okay. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Okay.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is Harbor Commission, and on these topics, I've been in consultation with our attorney, and he feels that out of an abundance of caution, I should recuse myself on these topics. And so I will, and then I will sit in the audience as long as you have an audience, and
Do you have to recuse yourself from scheduling a meeting, the first thing on the agenda? I'd make a motion to do that right before you, before you.
Okay, I think we.
I'll make a motion to schedule a special town.
And this is the ordinance, the resolution 20,
24-0206A.
Yes. For February 29th, 24.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now you're on your own. You need to.
I will make a motion to appoint Amy Baxter as sitting chair. I'm being interim. That'd be fast, this stuff.
I got him last time.
Or second, I'll second.
Right, 5-2. We have Bremer loans for revenue bonds, general obligation bonds, and revolving line of credit for the ferry line purchase. That would be 2024-0206B.
All my questions have been answered, previously about the loan. But I know that there's been a lot of not conflicting, but information that we didn't get till very late, so I'm not prepared to make any decisions.
So would we like to schedule a special town board meeting?
Well, if you guys want to,
Today?
yeah,
So
I would,
after we can get the Ehlers plan,
yeah. If you want to talk about it, that's fine, but I just don't want to act on it or nothing.
Because of the shortness of time of us.
Yeah, well, if we schedule a meeting for Thursday evening, then we just got some stuff at 2 o'clock or 2:30 or something.
Mhm.
I didn't have a chance, not that it's gonna make any difference, but it'd be nice to say, at least I looked at it.
right?
So then what we would be doing with this resolution is we would be postponing this
Till Thursday.
resolution. And then I don't think we have new agenda items, so we'll just have to add it on to the postponement that we're gonna add a meeting for Thursday at 5 PM, right?
Mhm.
I'll make the motion, we do that.
I have a second? On favor?
Aye.
You want to discuss it at all? Or,
Do you?
well, I just had, there's 3 different points of the BPS ratings, and one's 10, one's 20, and one's 50. And my question would be, what's the big difference between obligation bonds, revenue bonds, and the revolving credit line? Why are those points so different? And the answer is, I found out the answer ahead of time. The answer is because of the risk involved. So I'm just letting you guys know that was my question, and it was answered, so that was all I had.
Any other discussion? On favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have 5-3 short-term loan from town to the Harbor Commission. This meeting may upon duly made motion be convened in closed session under state statute 19.85, i.e. deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. The board goes into closed session, it will reconvene in open session before adjourning. You guys want to go in closed session to talk about the loan?
I don't have to go into closed session for it.
Okay, do I have a motion on the loan?
I would make a motion that we give the short-term loan to the Town Harbor Commission. For, got so much stuff here. 450 grand. 450,000.
For 90 days.
I'll second.
All in favor? Both? Motion carries. Would you like to take over, boss?
Can I come back?
Yeah, please.
Come back.
Thank you. Good job, Amy.
Great.
Okay, moving on. We need to change our meeting times, our regular meeting times. We had changed it to 4:45 and that's just not gonna work out. So we'd like to propose that we move the meetings back to 5 o'clock.
I make a motion, we move the regular town board meetings to 5 p.m.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is treasurer appointment and Michael Kukta mentioned in his memo. Both Michael Childers and Carol Neubauer are involved in the Harbor Commission's efforts. And so they have requested that we delay Michael's start date until after the purchase closes. And since we don't really have a firm date, I mean, we've heard the 21st of March, but I would just propose that we defer Michael Childers' start date until future vote by the board.
I'll make a motion to defer appointing the treasurer to a future date. Can I add after the ferry closes?
Sure.
Yeah, just
After the ferry purchase closes.
A second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comment B. Paul.
And it said that if this ordinance isn't passed, all these and gathering sites. Well, not enforcing the current non-compliant event spaces and instead making these non-compliant uses legal, to me, is laziness on the part of the zoning department. Instead of enforcing the ordinance, they will instead make illegal uses legal. And it's from my experience, or from my observation, zoning has not been enforced since Jennifer Kuhnberg Murphy was the CA. What's the rush to start enforcement now if the new rental ordinance isn't approved? Personally, I think if you, instead of rushing to approve a poor ordinance, continue using the old ordinance, until new ones approves, hopefully one that reflects the desires of the people at the 30th August 2023 public hearing, which to me, this does not even come close to what was discussed at that public hearing.
Thank you, Paul. Any other? Charlie?
Just to follow up what my brother said, I still think when you have such a contentious and let's say lengthy item as this rental ordinance has been, yeah, I know it's gone on a long time, but I think it could have been done a little bit better. I still think more public participation would have been a good thing. Democracy for the people, by the people, and well, I'm just saying it's seems like it's rushed as well. I know things are coming soon, but hopefully everyone learns from this. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie.
One other thing,
Go ahead, Paul.
when you think this is all ironclad, like the dormitories and you rent it out, just remember, figures may lie, but liars always figure.
Thank you, Paul. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will be having a special town board meeting this Thursday then at 5 o'clock. And cover that one particular item.
everybody's got the
Yes.